Any volunteer? Any volunteer?
The poverty has blocked the view of the peoples.
The poverty has blocked the view of
The peoples.
Okay.
So they can't see the blackboard.
So they can't see the platform. Any other? Yeah, there's a hand over there. Okay.
Classroom management is poor.
Classroom management is what?
Poor.
So this teacher should have known her pupils, her students. And then knowing your students, she's got to make an intentional agenda. With all apologies to Professor Ankuma. And that intentional agenda is what? Planning. If she had planned well, she wouldn't have created a classroom scene that will first create a challenge of management, and then two, create a situation where that pupil will stand and say, teacher, we can't see. So the whole issue, the core of management is planning. Management efficiency depends on planning efficiency. Without proper planning, managing access, equity, relevance, and quality becomes a trial and error activity. As the general saying goes, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So, Professor Chair, even though the topic mandates me to touch on planning and management, the fact that without proper planning, management cannot even exist, I have decided to focus or limit my presentation to the planning component of the presentation. And so the outline, I'll quickly give an overview of objectives and educational planning within the context of Ghana. Look at IEPA's role, and I ask the question, improving educational planning. Why IEPA? Then I'll look at IEPA and planning issues in sub-Saharan Africa, and then draw a conclusion. In Ghana, when you talk about education plan, then you're talking about strategies for improving equity. So improving equitable access and participation is very key. You're talking about improving quality. You're talking about bridging gender gap within the context of access, equity, quality, and relevance. And you're talking about improving management of educational facilities, resources, whatever you talk about. So just as the head of the Conference of Directors was trying to say, at the regional level, at the directorate level, directors have roles to play, all geared towards planning. We've heard a lot about that, so I wouldn't go into it. Now the other side, we want to look at the state of educational planning in Ghana. In 2018, the GES commissioned a profile study that was carried out by the IEPA. Wanted to find out the profile of education planning officers at the metro, municipal, and district levels. And IEPA worked in five regions worked in the Greater Accra region, the Central region, the Ashanti region, Eastern region, and then the Central Western region. It was a small-scale study. They used just 20 education planning officers. Out of these 20, as many as 16 hadn't received any training in educational planning. And as a result, they encountered constraints in terms of managing data. And that one, too, during the discussant, I think that one, there was highlight. And of course, the honorable minister representative said he will carry the message as it is. There was also inadequate resources, both human and material. The 16 people who hadn't had any educational planning training had qualifications in some forms of planning. They have higher national diploma in technology, higher national diploma in statistics, Bachelor of Science in development planning, Bachelor of Science in information technology, Master of Science in development policy and planning, and Master of Education in information technology. One may argue, at least there was an element of planning. Just as in 2011, one deputy minister decided that all training of head teachers in the country should be moved from IEPA to GIMPA. And IEPA argued, public administration is not the same as educational administration. So you cannot interchange them. In the same vein, educational planning is not the same as planning building technology. And so it will be a mismatch. The context differ, and you need to understand the context so that you can contribute meaningful to that. So now, improving educational planning. We've heard a lot about ways of improving, but why IEPA? IEPA because the very establishment of IEPA was triggered by the need for educational planners. So the core of IEPA's mandate has been, and will always be educational planning. And that is why you cannot talk about improving educational planning without reference to IEPA. It is very critical. IEPA has built and strengthened capacity of educational planners, administrators, and leaders. Since its inception, it had informed educational policy planning and implementation through research. And I think it will be very informative to indicate that the whole reform in our education, so far as the JHS concept is concerned, was led by IEP. If politicians had allowed the proposals submitted by IEPA to go as it was, we wouldn't have had the challenges we are encountering today. IEPA has been at the forefront. Currently, IEPA is engaged in research, the result of one which I've already shared with you. IEPA is engaged in professional development through short courses. IEPA is engaged in delivering academic programs And indeed, it has an MPhil program in educational planning. And it's also engaged in consultancy and outreach programs. So far as training and preparing educational planners is concerned, IEPA stands very tall. Organizing service training programs for persons in planning units in our educational system. As I said, the academic program is already there. But patronage of the educational planning component has not been encouraging over the years. Since its inception in 2001-2002 academic year to date, IEPA has been able to train only 77 educational planners for Ghana. Only 77. And it is good that someone said, But you see, the dilemma, even these 77 educational planners, where are they? In our districts, in our municipalities, in our metropolitan directorate. Where are they? That's a very big question. So utilization of our products, educational planners who should be servicing the Ghana Education Service, who should be servicing the Ministry of Education, is not seen. And that serves as a disincentive for people to enroll on the educational planning program. Honorable Minister's representative, I hope this thing, just as you said, will be looked at. So we use educational planners for educational planning activities at all levels of our educational system. As an observation of IEPA trained educational planners connotes that about 80% are in the Ghana Education Service. But what do they do? And the remaining 20% are with tertiary educational institutions. We are yet to conduct a tracer study to find out whether they are within the planning division or they are placed somewhere else, which has nothing to do with educational planning. Ladies and gentlemen, educational planning issues have become a sub-regional issue. And this has been a primary concern for UNESCO. And that's the more reason the Deputy Director General was very happy that out of 94 Category 2 centers in the world, the IEPA, with the support of the Ministry of Education government, is becoming a Category 2 in 2020. And we need to be proud of that, so far as educational planning is concerned. The sub-region is confronted with problems of planning towards meeting challenges of incompletion associated with schooling, challenges relating to access, quality, equity, and relevance, and then challenges relating to opportunities for professional development. In fact, if you take West Africa, there are only 2 institutes that are tasked with some lineage with educational planning. IEPA, and then one in Nigeria. But we pride ourselves that we have made a mark. We have made the mark. To come up. It is IEPA's objective to ensure that collaborative research in the field of educational planning across the sub-region is enhanced through this Category 2 agenda. And once that is enhanced, it will definitely trickle down to Ghana to strengthen our base for developing educational planners. And so in the light of this, IEPA seeks to organize long-term and short-term training courses across the sub-region. And we have the resources to do that, and the facilities are also there to do that. And it is our hope as an institution that once we do this, then member states will harness research and innovation in educational planning to progress educational policies that will be linked to access, equity, and quality, and also help in moving Africa up so far as issues of quality are concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say in brief that the IEPA, with its experiences, expertise, and resources, is more than capable of facilitating the government's agenda of improving educational planning in Ghana. It is ready to become a Category 2 Center of Excellence in educational planning, administration, and leadership in the sub-region. And IEPA recognizes the fact that the government, and for that matter, the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service, is committed to provide the needed support to empower the proposed center to support UNESCO educational planning priorities in the West African sub-region. As I conclude, I want you to remember that without proper planning, managing access, equity, and quality in education will remain challenging. If we are committed to improving management of our educational system as a nation, then we must commit ourselves to investing in educational planning. And by that I mean that special attention should be given to IEP when it comes to dispersing the educational budget. Thank you, and God bless you.